Hi, everybody. I'm Kari, and I am the current president of RCRA, and I'm here today to interview the famous Andy Holdnak. So how long have you been a member of RCRA?
Pretty much since it first started in the early 80s. I was not in that first group that famous group of, I believe, 7 with Debbie and them. But then the next meeting that they had, that was kind of a pre RCRA, get the organization together meeting, I was there. I can remember Debbie reading off the what do we call it? The board, the minutes and stuff like that. Yeah, the bylaws and all of that we had to do. So it's been a while. I went for about 25 years without missing, straight. So
that is impressive. Do you have a favorite conference that you've attended?
Goodness. I think probably one of the nicest ones was way back when we went to Las Vegas in the early years. And the thing that made it interesting was that was the meeting where we chose Sandestin as the site for the next year. And and since I was the Sandestin Recreation Director, I got up and I gave a little talk. And back in those days, one of the most popular songs was "I'm So Excited." And so I just started out my whole talk, "I'm so excited. We're going to go to Sandestin." And "I'm so excited" became a tagline for a couple of years. People would always start talking about that, and it was pretty funny.
Yeah, we need to go back to Vegas or even Sandestin sometime.
Well, Vegas is a challenge because every time a meeting would break, people would want to go downstairs to the casino.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's a few extra distractions there. How long were you at Sandestin?
On and off from 76 until 87. I took, for the first couple of years, I was Sandestin for 2 years. And then I worked for a management company called Aircoa. And they shipped me down to South Florida for the winter to the Jupiter Hilton. And then I came back. Then I went out to Sun Valley, Idaho for about 2 years, and then came back to Sandestin. And then took a leave of absence to get a master's degree. But 87 was when I left. And that's when I actually went back into grad school. Yeah, I'm one of those people. I laugh that I actually was an intern, a recreation intern. And then I supervised interns, and now academically I've supervised internships, so I've kind of been all of those.
So one of the big draws on the student side for the conference is of course our job fair. Do you have a favorite interview question that you like to use?
If I'm interviewing somebody, I would want to know, what is it about my property that really attracted you? And I'm not looking for, it looks like such a fun place. I'm looking for kind of a specific that you're familiar with our programs, and our locations and that kind of stuff.
Do you have any advice you'd want to give emerging professionals in the recreation industry?
Well, it almost goes back to what a lot of people say: if you find something you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And I've been fortunate, that ever since I was an undergrad at FSU, I've worked in the recreation field, and I'm counting, teaching hospitality now as part of that. So it's been nice to actually have a connection, all the way through. And it's because I liked what I wanted. I liked doing what I was doing. And it's been a natural progression.
Where did you do your internship at?
Bay Point, Panama City.
So we have the Howard U. Bell.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit about Howard U. Bell?
Oh, goodness. He was charismatic and personable. it was almost like everybody's grandfather when he would come in, and he knew everybody, was friendly with everybody, and he naturally just did a leadership role in almost anything, and it was always making sure kind of in the background that things ran very well and smoothly. One of my funny stories with that was doing the installation of officers. And even that far back, I used to do installation of officers. And Howard was supposed to give me the text of the installation, and apparently had forgotten it back in Washington and had them fax it to him at Sandestin, because that's where the conference was that year. They ran it through the copy machine, but the copy machine, they were in a hurry, and so it wasn't completely warmed up. And so when they handed me the stuff, it all looked good. But every time I would do something, some of the black powder would more or less wear off. And so by the time I get about halfway through, I'm not exactly making things up, but I can only pick up about 30% of what's on the paper. So, but it was fun. I enjoyed knowing him. I can remember one of the last times we saw him, one of his great comments was, do what you love as long as you can. When you hit a point that you don't love it anymore, change directions and find something, go in another direction that you love. So that was the way he did it.
What would you say has been one of RCRA's biggest accomplishments?
Just continuing to exist some years. It's attracting a broader group of people. Internet and things that, I have to congratulate everybody on what they've done over the last year, keeping things going with Zoom and everything else. I thought that's really something, staying in touch. Again, we had some ups and downs, but we're always moving forward. Another thing that I'm that I'm kind of interested in right now is the number of folks like Sally Evans and all who are moving into the lifestyle communities, and that is becoming a section, where in the old days, just the resort people were kind of rare enough. And now we have, the folks that are doing the lifestyle stuff. And that's pretty neat that we're spinning stuff off.
Definitely been a unique opportunity, and some great leadership too on that side, bringing it in for sure.
Yeah. I mean, Belinda, she's been doing it for years, and I'm happy and proud of the way that stuff's gone.
Yeah. Is there anything else, any advice or anything you'd like to add?
Keep on going.
Keep on going.
That's it. It's always exciting to see people come together and get motivated and reinterested, and go back home and do it again.
Well, thank you, Andy. I'm gonna stop recording here.